Oh, hello there. Yes, well, good grief. That ongoing white farmer genocide in South Africa. Dreadful. But if the ongoing white farmer genocide in South Africa is dreadful, what would you call an ongoing non-white farmer genocide in Gaza? I don't really know. It's hard to say. I mean, the ongoing white genocide farmer in in South Africa has been a hot topic on and off for the last 7 years. I recall seeing various people on Fox News over the years, particularly at the height of BLM, oddly enough, that wanted to talk very much about it. And sure enough, the statistics are in, and every year a small number of white farmers in South Africa are indeed killed. Quite whether or not that makes it enough to be a genocide, or perhaps over a very, 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 very protracted time frame, is your decision to make. But I'm just curious as to what the actual mass deaths that we can see in Gaza might be called if the small number of deaths of South African farmers is indeed a genocide. Hard to say, really. Still, I suppose if we talk about the ongoing white genocide that is happening in South Africa, then we don't talk about other things, which leads me to think that maybe that's the case. And if there is indeed this ongoing white farmer genocide, it's hard to say now, genocide in South Africa, and perhaps even one might hazard a guess that there might be a genocidal style activities in Gaza, then what might we expect to be the outcome of that if you are, for example, an Israeli diplomat in a foreign state? I don't know. You might make you something of a target for attack, which perhaps is exactly where we are. But suddenly we go into, once again, the politics of, well, absolute monstrosity and stupidity, because the Israeli state yesterday was accusing people like Keir Starmer, obviously the Daily Telegraph was all over that, of being culpable. Now, the British state is currently having ongoing supplying parts to the Israeli military to make sure that they can be bombing people in Gaza. We supply vast amounts of electronic and otherwise information from flights from Cyprus. And the fact that our government has just managed to vaguely mention that perhaps, apart from the ongoing white farmer genocide in South Africa, that perhaps, so many people being killed in Gaza might be a quite bad thing, just might hazard, it means that the all of those friends of Israel must be unleashed upon them. Now, I'm not saying that people should be gunned down in the streets elsewhere, but what do you think is going to happen? And this, I think, I've spent my adult life looking at these types of stories. I'm reminded, for example, of the way the IRA were treated as being totally beyond the pale during the Thatcher years, because she would have nothing to do with them. We could have had, back in the mid-1970s, any cursory reading of Northern Ireland tells you that we could have had a secure peace deal with those nefarious, evil monsters like Gerry Adams back in the mid-1970s if somebody had decided to pick up the ball. But of course we couldn't. The British media would safely ensconce the rest of us in this little bubble whereby we mustn't let the terrorists win. And what that meant was that, well, an awful lot of people died or were brutally hurt. Perhaps one of the reasons why we have a band called Kneecap. Yes, and it reaches its kind of apogee in this country whereby people look at certain people doing things which are just part of the rough and tumble, one might say, of politics, and decide that they are beyond the pale because they are bad people. I'll give you this example in Parliament. The idea that in Parliament MPs might barrack another MP apparently is really, really bad if you're the wrong type of MP. Oh my God, how disgusting. Imagine MPs shouting at each other and acting like children. Perhaps one should have a word with the rest of them. Though that is, those of them that aren't currently being investigated for fraud or potentially very, very serious sexual assault and otherwise. We live in a country where we are not allowed to have a grown-up conversation about things. Now, I am sorry that people are killed. I'm always sorry that people are killed, but I will not put a value on life A as being high and a value on life B as being low, depending on the colour of those person's skin or indeed their religion. There is a very, very precise word for that, and I think it needs to be used a lot more in the British media. Anyway, do have a glorious, oh my God, thank God, it is Friday. That's good. I've had enough of this week. Do have a good one if you can do. Enjoy.